So Joel Greenberg, Matt Gaetz' criminal bestie, pleaded guilty in federal district court in Florida today. Let's talk about where things are heading from here. I contend they're heading toward justice. And justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So Joel Greenberg pleaded guilty today in federal district court in Florida, and he agreed to cooperate fully with prosecutors in the investigations and prosecutions of others. Now, Joel Greenberg undoubtedly has blockbuster evidence against others, and those others must be significantly bigger fish. Why do I say that? Well, because the prosecutors offered him what we sometimes call a sweetheart deal. Joel Greenberg was charged with 33 federal felonies, and prosecutors let him plead guilty to only 6 and agreed to dismiss 27 others. That's how we know, or I would say we can reasonably infer, that Joel Greenberg has blockbuster information about bigger fish. Let's talk about one of the charges Joel Greenberg pleaded guilty to today, and it hasn't gotten as much attention as some of the other charges, like the child sex trafficking charge that he pleaded guilty to and said he committed with others, or the stalking charge where he, smeared a political opponent, a school teacher who had the nerve to announce that he was intending to run against Joel Greenberg. So, of course, Joel Greenberg lied about him, called him a white supremacist, and sent anonymous letters that that political opponent was having inappropriate relationships with students. Yeah, this is who Joel Greenberg is, Matt Gaetz' wingman, running buddy. Let's talk about one count that we haven't heard much about. Today, Joel Greenberg pleaded guilty to the crime of conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States. Now, that is a broad crime, and we don't know precisely what crimes he intended to commit or he conspired to commit against the United States or who his co-conspirators are, but here's the important part. By pleading to a conspiracy to commit crimes against the United States, he obviously has one or more co-conspirators, because the law of conspiracy is such that he could only plead guilty to that if he had agreed with one or more persons to commit crimes against the United States, and then one of the conspirators did some act toward the commission of the crime, what we call an overt act. Here's the beauty of the law of conspiracy. The law deems that if multiple people get together and agree to commit crime, let's say you have 5 conspirators who join a conspiracy agreeing to commit crimes against the United States, and then just one of those co-conspirators goes out and commits those crimes against the United States, guess what? All 5 co-conspirators are equally guilty, even though they didn't personally participate in that crime. Why? Because the law deems that when people get together and agree to commit crimes jointly, it's a more dangerous endeavor. So co-conspirator liability covers everybody, in for a criminal penny, in for a criminal pound if you're a member of a criminal conspiracy. And Joel Greenberg is, and others are as well. We just don't know who they are yet, but we will know soon enough. Why? Because now that Joel Greenberg has pleaded guilty, you know what that does? It frees up all of the information, all of the evidence Joel Greenberg has presented to the prosecutors about the crimes of others. It frees it all up to be used against those others, to indict, to arrest, to prosecute those others. Because the defining moment is when Joel Greenberg pleads guilty, because he then becomes a testifying witness. So everything he can testify about regarding the crimes of others is now available to the prosecutors to be used in court. Before Joel Greenberg pleaded guilty, anything Joel Greenberg said would have been hearsay. It wouldn't have been available yet to prosecutors to use in court. Why? Because Joel Greenberg would have had a Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. He couldn't be forced to testify about any of it before he entered his guilty plea and agreed to cooperate. That's why today is an important day, because it frees up all that evidence. It provides all of that evidence to prosecutors, and they can now use it to indict, arrest, and prosecute the other bigger fish. And the whole thing, folks, is moving in the direction of justice. It just plain is. And justice matters. Folks, stay tuned, because things are about to get good. And I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.